Respiratory Physiology, the control of breathing. Welcome to today's podcast, where we delve into the fascinating and essential topic of respiratory physiology, focusing specifically on the control of breathing. Breathing, seemingly effortless and automatic, is in fact a marvel of precise regulation. It is an act that must continue unsupervised while we sleep, but also allow for conscious override when we need to speak, eat, or hold our breath. The body's systems must adjust seamlessly to maintain stable levels of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and blood acidity, whether during periods of rest, strenuous exercise, or in the face of illness. Let's begin our exploration by outlining the core components of this system. The control of breathing relies on three interconnected elements: sensory receptors, a central controller located in the brainstem, and the effectors, which are the respiratory muscles. The central controller, brainstem networks. At the heart of automatic breathing lies the brainstem. Neurons in this region generate rhythmic cycles that drive our respiration. Key centers within the brainstem include the dorsal respiratory group, the ventral respiratory group, and the pontine respiratory group. The dorsal respiratory group is primarily responsible for inspiration. Its neurons fire to stimulate the diaphragm and external intercostal muscles, setting the depth and pace of each breath. This group also receives critical feedback from chemoreceptors and mechanoreceptors throughout the body. During periods of increased demand, such as exercise, the ventral respiratory group is activated. This center coordinates both forced inspiration and expiration, recruiting accessory muscles like the abdominals and the sternocleidomastoids to help meet the body's necessity for greater ventilation. The pontine respiratory group, located in the pons, serves as a fine-tuner for this system. It helps shape the transitions between inspiration and expiration, ensuring that the rhythm of breathing is smooth and appropriately paced. The intrinsic rhythm of breathing emerges from a network of neurons within the brainstem, which is then shaped and modified by sensory input and these key centers. Sensors. The chemoreceptors. Let's examine the sensors that monitor the chemical composition of the blood and cerebrospinal fluid. The chemoreceptors. These are divided into central and peripheral varieties. Central chemoreceptors are situated on either side of the ventrolateral medulla, submerged in cerebrospinal fluid. They are highly sensitive to changes in the acidity of this fluid. Carbon dioxide from the blood diffuses readily across the blood-brain barrier, combining with water to form carbonic acid, which then splits into hydrogen ions and bicarbonate ions. When acidity increases, these receptors prompt a ramp up in breathing. It is important to note that central chemoreceptors are not responsive to low oxygen levels. Peripheral chemoreceptors are found mainly in the carotid bodies at the split of the common carotid arteries and to a lesser extent in the aortic bodies. These receptors detect drops in arterial oxygen, increases in carbon dioxide, and decreases in blood pH. Their primary stimulus is a drop in oxygen, and they are not activated until oxygen levels fall below a critical threshold. These receptors provide rapid, first-line feedback to the brainstem, especially in response to low oxygen. Effectors. The respiratory muscles. The output of this intricate system is carried by the nerves that control the diaphragm and intercostal muscles. The strength and frequency of signals sent through these nerves determine how much air we take in with each breath and how often we breathe each minute. This orchestration ensures that our ventilation matches our metabolic needs. Integrated responses to blood gas changes. Now, let us look at how the body responds to changes in blood gases. An increase in carbon dioxide, called hypercapnia, is the most powerful driver of ventilation. Even a small rise in arterial carbon dioxide triggers a strong increase in both the rate and depth of breathing. This response is mediated by both central and peripheral chemoreceptors, with central receptors playing the dominant role. A decrease in oxygen, known as hypoxemia, is detected by peripheral chemoreceptors. Ventilation does not increase significantly until oxygen levels fall below a certain point, at which time the response becomes quite dramatic. In addition, low oxygen amplifies the response to carbon dioxide, creating a synergistic effect. A drop in blood pH, or acidosis, also stimulates peripheral chemoreceptors. This leads to an increase in breathing, which helps to eliminate carbon dioxide and reduce acidity. During conditions such as exercise or diabetic ketoacidosis, this feedback loop becomes critically important. Other influences on breathing. There are several other factors that modify our breathing patterns. Mechanoreceptors in the lungs help prevent overinflation by signaling the brainstem to end inspiration when the lungs are sufficiently stretched. Irritant receptors in the airways respond to smoke and dust by triggering cough and bronchoconstriction, while receptors in the alveolar walls respond to congestion by inducing rapid, shallow breathing. Higher brain centers also play a role, allowing for voluntary control of breathing during activities like talking or singing. Emotional states, processed in the limbic system and hypothalamus, can alter breathing patterns as well. For example, gasping in fear or sighing when relaxed. Even body temperature can influence ventilation, with higher temperatures resulting in increased breathing rates. Clinical perspective. Central congenital hypoventilation syndrome, a rare but dramatic condition known as central congenital hypoventilation syndrome, sometimes called Ondine's curse, illustrates the vital importance of automatic control of breathing. Individuals with this condition breathe normally while awake because voluntary circuits are active, but lose their drive to breathe during sleep, necessitating mechanical ventilation. Summary: the control of breathing is an elegant, hierarchical, and built-in system. The brainstem generates the essential rhythm. Central chemoreceptors keep a tight watch on carbon dioxide via pH changes, and peripheral chemoreceptors serve as crucial sentinels for oxygen and pH. This system keeps arterial carbon dioxide within a narrow range, thus maintaining the delicate acid-base balance required for life. Modulation by lung reflexes, conscious intent, and emotional state ensures that our breathing remains both robust and adaptive. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into respiratory physiology. Let us marvel together at the complexity and precision that allows us to breathe effortlessly and continuously, every moment of life. If you enjoy the content, please like, share and subscribe. It's the Everything Surgery Podcast. Dissect the extraordinary.